Hello, by V. I'll be checking out WWE. Why WWE isn't the same anymore from WrestleMania? Okay, let's go.
Doesn't seem the same anymore. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. And the landscape at WWE has vastly changed over the past 5 years. Ever since the COVID-19 era, something has just felt off about the product. Granted, as a viewer, watching WWE through wiser and more mature eyes naturally changes how you view the product. Additionally, thanks to social media sites such as X, TikTok, and even Reddit, the thoughts on the product from other fans greatly shapes how you personally view pro wrestling, specifically WWE. However, WWE's entire world has changed to such an extent that the product that we see weekly is completely different to what we saw several years ago. What has happened, and why is WWE taking a seismic shift that hasn't been met with universal love and admiration? Now, pro wrestling's popularity's always gone up and down, and it's always hard to predict when the next boom is going to be. When WWE were struggling to sell tickets for their shows during 2017 to 2019, nobody could have ever predicted that another mini boom was on the horizon. The product was so detested by not just fans, but talent themselves, and they were at a point thanks to WWE's creative output where their top star, that being Roman Reigns, was going to ride off into the sunset. That's right, according to WWE Hall of Famer Paul Heyman, when Reigns took a step back from WWE during the COVID-19 outbreak, he considered himself retired. This was mainly down to how utterly horrendous the WWE creative had been for years. But the WWE boom started around 2022, and there was a lot of factors that went into WWE catching fire once more. Vince McMahon leaving WWE was definitely a key factor. Lapsed wrestling fans wanted to see what WWE was like without McMahon, and once they discovered that this was going to be a product that listened to the audience and embraced change, they were back in. Additionally, having Triple H steer the ship was 100% the right move. The game had been known for his creative during his time running NXT, and it wasn't just the creative aspects that the game was praised for, as he was often cited as being outstanding with talent and understanding how to get the best out of them. But this is something that McMahon hadn't been praised for since the 90s. There were also numerous major storylines and characters catching fire at the same time. The Bloodline storyline was producing cinema each and every week, and Cody Rhodes was slowly but surely cementing himself as the next John Cena. The latter was such a natural role that the first time in 20 years, WWE had an organic fit for the next face of the company. It was someone that finally WWE actively wanted in that role. But this all sounds perfect, so where's the magic actually gone? Elements of change were definitely felt when TKO acquired WWE. WWE being acquired by another company meant that for the first time ever, that they were going to have other people control what they did. Whilst TKO leaves WWE alone in certain aspects, key contracts when it comes to the rights and licensing are all down to TKO. And as we've seen over the past 3 years, TKO is focused on one thing and one thing only: money. Pro wrestling is a scripted medium. This has been common knowledge for decades, and it doesn't take away from how special and valuable pro wrestling is as an art form. In the same way that Marvel movies are obviously not occurring in real life, this doesn't hinder their enjoyment, and you can easily watch them and let yourself engage in the fictional universe for about 2 or 3 hours. But with that being said, when you're watching the latest Hollywood blockbuster, the lead actor doesn't come out on the screen halfway through and remind you that what you're watching is completely fake. When the next Avengers movie comes out, titled Avengers Doomsday, which will star Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom, Downey isn't going to come out onto the screen at the end and say, "Hey, just so you know, I'm playing a character and I'm not actually full of malice." Unfortunately, WWE has become this company that is insistent on telling the audience that what they're watching is totally fabricated. In the Triple H era, post-show press conferences were launched after all the major shows. These are still to date one of the most confusing and backwards additions to the WWE programming schedule. WWE will always have talent talk about their matches and upcoming programs, but in an odd move, some will be in complete character while some will break kayfabe and act like it's an out-of-character interview outside of the WWE realm. It's utterly bizarre, and the fact that wrestlers take questions from the wrestling media is an unusual approach to say the very least. Triple H will almost certainly feature at these conferences, and it's usually Triple H's job to run down the numbers and promote how the show did a record gate and delivered record-breaking attendance. These press conferences are done to pat WWE on the back, and they have no other purpose than to remind the fans who've already watched the show and the wider media that WWE is on fire. The origin of these post-show press conferences is no doubt from pro sports, as they are common in most sports in the US and Europe. This, however, sends a mixed message. WWE wants to act like they're a real sport by doing these, but are they willing to break kayfabe during them? WWE either needs to fully embrace kayfabe or just leave it behind, as it makes no sense to blur the lines to such a confusing extent, and it's slowly turning fans away from the product as it lacks identity and, most importantly, soul. When it comes to breaking kayfabe, WWE would open their latest era, titled the Netflix era, by having Triple H introduce the show in a video package where he stated, "A great swath of American culture is born of that internal battle between the face and the heel. From ecstasy to humiliation, fame to obscurity, and back again. An endless cycle that changed the rules and blurred the lines, made it harder to distinguish the good guys from the bad, and the shoot from the work, the real from the unreal." The WWE opening their biggest Raw show ever by telling the audience that the show is all fake was certainly a bold choice, and the game was even forced to defend this call on the post-Raw press conference, but his justification was a generic answer that really didn't delve into the why. Unfortunately, for those that believe WWE is going too far with this, it's not going away anytime soon. We have names such as The Rock shooting a major angle, then just minutes later going live on a WWE-sanctioned show and reminding everyone that he's not really a bad guy and going into the inner workings of his heel persona. WWE will also release a series titled Unreal. This will see WWE show fans the inner workings of the creative team, and based on the trailers for the show, they're going to show fans how to put matches together and why certain wrestlers are picked for certain programs. Does it sound like a unique program? Well, yeah, sure, but do we really need to see this as an audience? Some things are better off left to the imagination. If WWE are going to continue down this path, we're going to get to a point where the wrestling media dirt sheets are abolished. WWE will run their own dirt sheet and they will reveal all the insider information regarding the company themselves. A presentation is one of the most important elements of a pro wrestling company. Pro wrestling needs to be presented in a certain way to be taken seriously. The wrestlers themselves should have an instant aura thanks to their theme music, the way they dress should scream superstar, and the way they walk, talk, and interact with others should have gravitas. One of the things that Vince McMahon managed to master was the presentation of wrestlers and shows. McMahon understood the importance of presentation, specifically a theme song. McMahon would always realize that the theme song is perhaps the single most important element of a wrestler's visual and audible presentation. There was never a point during McMahon's tenure that wrestlers were given a theme song just for the sake of it. The iconic Jim Johnson often produced tracks with a specific wrestler's character and persona in mind. However, in 2025, WWE used the infamous Def Rebel, and they seem to randomly assign a song based on what they already have in their back catalog. WWE's shortcomings when it comes to the theme songs are exposed at the Royal Rumble every single year. Due to the show taking place in a gigantic stadium, they rely on the theme song to deliver that initial pop. Due to half the wrestlers having bland, unoriginal theme songs, a solid 50% of them failed to muster any type of reaction at all. Case in point, Finn Balor this year, a man who was once Universal Champion of WWE, absolutely getting no reaction whatsoever. A TKO recently signed a deal with Def Rebel for the UFC, so sadly, the issues with theme songs aren't going anywhere. And despite names such as Metro Boomin campaigning to work with WWE, it looks like they have zero interest in splashing out in this department. Another element of WWE's presentation that has changed for the worse is their staging. During the 2000s, it was expected that no matter what the show was, WWE would go all out with a unique stage. This would give even the worst shows a sense of identity. But now with every single show outside of Mania virtually using the same set, every show blends into one. This impacts how memorable they are as a viewer. This is naturally a cost-cutting measure, but every single cost-cutting measure seems to impact the overall presentation of the show, and WWE and TKO are seemingly never putting any money back into things that should matter. WWE's event calendar in the first half of 2025 has been an utter disaster. In a unique move, WWE would have the Royal Rumble take place on February 1st, and this was done to accommodate a Saturday night's main event that would take place just 7 days prior. This way of formatting the shows meant that WWE had an extended build to WrestleMania, and this hindered the build as WWE acted like they were building towards a fast lane show for the first 5 weeks. Coming out of WrestleMania, WWE would go absolutely crazy with their events, as they would have a show virtually every 2 weeks, thanks to them having the majority of their contracted Saturday night's main event shows in the first half of the year. This has been totally exhausting as a fan, as nothing has been given an opportunity to breathe. And the crazy thing is, following the Saturday night's main event and Evolution double bill next weekend, they won't have another Saturday night's main event special until December. WWE have to avoid this format in subsequent years, as the sheer amount of programming has without a doubt put fans off. The WWE lineup used to be extremely easy to follow, as it would be one major event each and every month, and even the most casual fans would be able to follow what was occurring and when. However, even the most diehard of fans are stunned when WWE reminds viewers that there's another PLE next weekend. Where's the soul gone? The WWE still has a lot of positive attributes as a company. There are numerous wrestlers that have been pushed due to being organically over, and this type of booking was virtually nowhere to be found under Vince McMahon. Additionally, the shows, specifically Raw, are mostly enjoyable, and the big matches on TV are known to deliver. However, the issues mainly exist thanks to the way WWE are presenting the show, and the fact that they're beginning to take the audience for granted. These complaints are shared often by fans on social media, but WWE takes zero action. In fact, Triple H has firmly turned against the fans, and he spent the majority of the media tour of WrestleMania 41 telling interviewers that the fans' opinions don't matter. WWE is in a weird place with their product, and hopefully them and TKO begin to realize that the show and the company as a whole is missing a total sense of identity, and it's slowly becoming to lose that magic that makes WWE oh so special. What do you guys think? Is WWE just not the same?
Everything what he said is true. I mean, WWE has their ups and downs, but it is what it is. But that was a good video by WrestleMania. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. See y'all next week.